Vegans can actually cause more animal cruelty than carnivores. So why do I say that? Well, many vegans actually try to feed their dogs and cats a raw vegan diet, which is the worst thing they can possibly do because it causes malnourishment, toxicity, and various digestive issues for dogs and cats. Dogs and cats were designed by God to eat meat. They have stomach acid levels of a pH of range of 1.5 to 2.1, which means it is so naturally acidic, designed to break down raw meat. Many dog owners choose to feed their pets a raw diet, often referred to as a BARF diet, which stands for biologically appropriate raw food. And raw meat can provide essential nutrients, protein, and enzymes that can benefit a dog's health. In an article in the Journal of Small Animal Project in 2019, the authors discussed the implications of raw meat diet for animals, including dogs and cats. And they actually concluded that it is plausible for certain individuals in certain diets and certain animals, raw feeding may lead to improvement in clinical signs related to, for example, food intolerances, inflammatory bowel conditions, and in some other conditions which dietary influences may have been established. In another article, this is actually a website by the Northwest Naturals, they pointed out a very interesting fact. Over 2,000 years ago, the early Romans were feeding their farm dogs barley bread soaked in milk as well as meat scraps as a change. They actually fed their war dogs more raw meat and garlic doses to strengthen the war dogs. So the farmer dogs, the domesticated dogs, they actually weakened them just to get a little bit more control. But the war dogs for war, they fed them raw meat and garlic doses, which remember, some plants can be used medicinally to strengthen them. Essentially, the wild dogs were eating raw meat, but they became domesticated once they were fed grains, just like humans. This is why humans were also domesticated with the agricultural revolution, which is not really the agricultural revolution, it was actually the agricultural de-evolution. Coined by Dr. Ken Berry, I believe he said that. And just like the pharmaceutical companies manipulated the public, big corporations began manipulating the public on pet food. In 1964, the Pet Food Institute, a lobbying group for the now huge pet food industry, began a campaign to get people to stop feeding their dogs anything but packaged dog food crap. They personally funded fake reports that appeared in magazines detailing the benefits of processed dog food and even produced radio ads about the dangers of table scraps from just real raw meat, which is complete bullcrap. However, in the past 3 decades, a lot of dietary innovations came about with the development of complete and balanced raw diets for pets, shortly followed by freeze-dried pet food, which was primarily freeze-dried meat. And this is essentially more natural than a lot of this processed dog food. And the last 2 diet trends coincided with the rising demand by pet owners for healthier diets for their pets. And guys, another thing to note, veterinarians have never been around forever. They came about in the last 2 centuries. In fact, the first formal veterinary school emerged in the late 19th century, and this is after they started domesticating the dogs and getting them weaker by feeding them grains. Before this, dogs didn't need any veterinarians. They know how to take care of themselves. They didn't have all these, autoimmune problems and, hip problems because they were able to take care of themselves because they were wild eating raw meat. It is what they are designed to eat. So folks, start feeding your dogs and cats real raw meat. Eat meat, train hard, and let's make America great and healthy again.